Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory Live. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO, and you can also find us on the audio side as well. So, if you got a couple of minutes, leave a rate and review. Give us a 5-star. All right, Brian, we got to get to another fight, and this one controversial as well. The first one,
Yes.
and so this one very exciting. William Zepeda and Tevin Farmer. They're having a rematch, and I believe a lot of people thought Tevin Farmer got robbed that first time because clearly I think he won that first fight. I think he won that first fight, and
I do too. I do
and
too.
and so now we're
I'm not gonna say robbery, but I thought he won it. But I had him winning by a point. So
okay.
it wasn't crazy. The knockdown was the difference. The surprising thing to me, so William Zepeda and Tevin Farmer fought November 16th of last year. This was in Riyadh. This next fight is gonna be in Cancun. So now Golden Boy is just basically like, yo, we really want to make sure Zepeda wins this fight. So we're going to put this in Mexico for him against Tevin Farmer, who now has to overcompensate again to probably get a fair shake. Zepeda was knocked down in round 4. There was a flash knockdown, just a beautiful, beautiful counter left hand. I think it was a pull counter by Tevin Farmer, just drops him. 95-94, one judge for Farmer, and 95-94, two judges for Zepeda. So it was that razor thin. And to me, I had a 95-94 for Farmer. I think a lot of people thought Farmer could have won that fight. I don't think Zepeda winning was crazy. So the betting odds for this, Shantelle, are very interesting. What do you think about this? Because we have right now at one prominent sportsbook, William Zepeda is minus 900 to win this fight, and Tevin Farmer is plus 550. Do you find that to be as disrespectful as I do?
Here's the thing. I feel like Tevin Farmer won the first fight, and they didn't give him the nod. I don't think he's going to win this second fight, even if he wins the second fight.
I know what you mean.
Like that's what I mean. So I'm betting my money on William Zepeda. I'm not even going to waste my time because you know what they're trying to do in terms of trying to build Zepeda up. And we've heard the conversations about William Zepeda fighting a guy possibly like Shakur Stevenson. We thought that fight was going to happen. That fight's probably still going to happen this year because Shakur got to fight somebody, and William Zepeda is a name, right? Like he's a name
And
that people think, and he's a worthy opponent. And so I feel bad for Tevin Farmer. He got robbed the first fight, and that's why I'm not gonna put money on him on the second fight because he'll probably win again, and we'll have the same exact ending. So I'm not even gonna waste my time and lose money on this one, Brian.
so I put money on Tevin Farmer against Raymond Murataya. I feel like he got dissed in that fight. I don't think he necessarily won, but I felt like that was closer than the judges had it. And also there was a bullshit point deduction in round 8 that really swung it. One judge had it 95-94, so Murataya would have won on a majority decision as opposed to unanimous one. But I think there was a real case for a draw. Just Farmer lost some steam late. And then there's a beta fight we just talked about. So this would be probably the third straight fight, Chantel, that I do sprinkle on Tevin Farmer by decision, even though I think William Zepeda, like I'm probably going to hedge with a William Zepeda bet because I think this is in Cancun. I think Tevin Farmer basically has to knock him out. And Tevin Farmer has 8 career knockouts, 33 wins, but 8 knockouts. He's never been a knockout puncher.
Well,
So
that's the
that's the
thing.
issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. But here's the thing as well. Like William Zepeda takes a lot of hits,
He does.
and you just never know what could happen. But I just think in Mexico, he didn't
Mm-hmm.
win the first one. Like I'm not gonna waste my time here. Tevin, I'm telling you right now, I hope Tevin Farmer has a great performance and that he does enough to convince the judges that he won. I just think that's going to be extremely hard to do.
You mentioned Shakur Stevenson. So William Zepeda is still the interim champion for the WBC. He has to fight Shakur Stevenson at some point. Like that fight has to happen. It should be next. So I'm hoping that because Shakur Stevenson just fought last month, he's already looking for a new challenger, yada yada yada. I'm hoping that if Zepeda does win this fight, we just all right, now it's time. Zepeda versus Stevenson, hopefully this summer or something like that. Like that's the fight to make because Tank is gonna fight Lamont Roach in what looks like June. And I'm not counting on Tank to fight Shakur Stevenson next anyway. So I think like the match to make there is Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. If Tevin Farmer actually does win, this gets really interesting because it's like, all right, now do you do a trilogy and do you do it in like the United States, which I think would make the most sense. And do you just try to see, all right, the rubber match, who's the interim champion? And I don't know what Shakur Stevenson does in the meantime, maybe just knocks off another challenger. But I think that's really interesting. But I do expect Zepeda to win this, at least in part, because I expect Farmer to get disrespected by the judges.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have much to say about it because I think he will get disrespected by the judges. Al the Pal, they all do bad in their country. Mexico might be a bad place.
Hmm.
Munguia, Canelo, they did bad in Mexico. Yeah, because there's a lot of pressure. But
Coming
at the
home, yeah, it's a lot of
there's
pressure
a
coming
there's a
home.
lot of pressure, but at the same time, it's also a stage where they should thrive. And if William Zepeda needs a big performance, it's this one because I think people know he didn't win that first fight. And if you had Zepeda winning, like I don't know what you saw. So
Yeah. I would argue also because of Tevin Farmer's style, and he's been this guy forever in terms of the counter punching slickness, but he's older and not as quick as Shakur Stevenson. But that's kind of the blueprint to beat a William Zepeda. Shakur Stevenson could obviously just do it at a higher level now than Tevin Farmer could. But like Tevin Farmer before the long layoff, when he was super featherweight champion, although he wasn't fighting the stiffest competition, like pre Jojo Diaz, that dude was super, super, super slick. One of the slickest dudes in boxing in terms of his defense and things of that nature. So I think that's sort of the blueprint to beat William Zepeda. And honestly, if Shakur Stevenson does fight William Zepeda next, assuming Zepeda wins, like there's no hesitation for me. Shakur Stevenson by decision, blind bet, like no hesitation for me at all.